Guys, welcome to another Confessions of a Property Buyer. Today, we are proud to have Ben Handler on the show. If you don't know Ben Handler, he has been one of the most successful buyers agents in Australia. And now he runs the Buyers Agent Institute, helping others do the same. And I have to say, Ben, your marketing and the way you present it's a real joy. Like it really makes it easy to consume the content. You take your time so we can understand what you're saying and that sort of thing. So Ben, what drove you to start BAI?
Thanks for the kind intro.
No worries.
So BAI, that was ideated in around 2018. That was while I was still at Cohen Handler, my former company, before I exited. So that the BAI was an idea that was, I guess, ideated based on the notion that I wanted to see at that stage when I was at Cohen Handler more buyers agents in the sector. There weren't a lot of buyers agents running around across Australia. So the intention was to create more buyers agents, and there was also.
I have had real estate agents saying, what's happening with all these buyers agents popping up? Why is this happening also? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I hear it from everyone. I hear it from buyers agents. More so I hear it from buyers agents who don't like it. But real estate agents as well. Yeah, but I mean, like, there's when you put it into context, there's a really small number of buyers agents compared to real estate agents, right? Like, it's very out of proportion. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of room to grow, and I think competition's healthy, and the more the industry grows and the more awareness that starts to breed, I just think the good people, the good buyers agents, they're going to dominate even harder.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I've heard you speak in the past that you went to America and you saw that there was lots of buyers agents over there. Now, you've obviously got a larger understanding of this than I do, but over there, I've heard that the buyers agents often get commission from the seller's agent. I don't know if that's always true, but is the model in Australia that you've inspired, I guess, is it much different in that way, like commission wise, or is that even a reality? I'm just going off what I've what I've researched.
So in the US, the buyer's agent receives money from the vendor, the seller. So the seller pays, if there's a buyer's agent and real estate agent involved, it's typically around 5 to 6%. They divvy it between both. If the selling agent acts as the buyer's agent, they cop both. So when we looked at the model in the US, it's obviously it's quite normal for a buyer to use a buyer's agent because it's free, the service, right? It's coming from the seller. But I thought it was just didn't make sense, because if you're a buyer and you're getting represented by a buyer's agent, and that buyer's agent's getting remunerated through the seller, it just didn't make much sense. And so we came back to Australia, and we weren't the first group doing it. There was other buyers agents who were charging the buyer. However, no one knew what a buyer's agent was. So the goal was to come back home and just blow it up. So that's what we did.
Yeah, nice. And that was so when did you know you were onto a good thing? You know? It was a few years ago now, wasn't it?
2009. So 2010 was when we really launched. And so I think when we signed the first client, so when we got the first buyer's agent agreement executed, we got the first retainer paid, we'd validated the model, we'd validated to get a retainer up front, then we validated to charge the other fee. And so the fee for service model was there, and the appetite from a buyer was there. And so we just thought, okay, we're on, game on.
Yeah, in my only touch with Cohen Handler is visited their office. It was definitely different than some other buyers agent office, like a good culture there. And I think it's a real Australian legacy that that you've left behind, and yeah, it is quite an inspiration. So, what would you tell a new buyer's agent that's looking to get into being a buyer's agent now, considering the market conditions? Because when I hear your story, I'm like, well, Ben's not a buyer's agent anymore. He's got a course. But when I talk to some buyer's agents, they're like, no, Ben is he's in the market. He's helping us. He's listening to us. He's responding, and he's creating training around that. With that in mind, what would you tell a new buyer's agent in the current market? Because it's always changing, and this is the end of 2023.
So the majority of people in my program at BAI, the front end program, we call it the Accelerator, about 90% of the people in the group, we've got over 3,000, they are investor focused BAs.
Beautiful.
And a lot of them are buying, I would say regional, like sub 600. Okay, all across Australia, yeah. Predominantly WA, SA, Southeast Queensland, a bit of New South Wales now.
Yeah.
If I look at the buyer's agents at the moment who are transacting, like they are busier than they were when the market was firing before.
Yeah.
And the market was peaking. I don't know when that was, maybe 15 months ago or 14 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever it was extremely
Sounds
hot.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hotter now for them. They can't keep up. Like they're having operational problems. They are having hiring problems because things are too busy for them. So to answer your question,
yeah,
I think that if you look at the market where rates are really high and there's a bit of negativity and there's a bit of economic instability, for example, in the US, etc., in the UK, I think it's a really good sign for people that if they want to get into this space, and I think you're in Brisbane, right?
That's right, yeah.
A lot of the owner-occupied buyers agents I know in Brizzy are like extremely busy. And so what that tells you is that when the market turns, like when rates start to drop, things are only going to get busier for the buyers agents. And so I think for anyone getting in to this space, if you've got really strong discipline, you've got diligence, you care about property, like you're passionate about it, and you can follow the boring old habits, and you can just do what's required day to day, you can win really easily. It's not rocket science what we do. We're not shooting rockets to Mars with Elon Musk. It's pretty basic stuff what we do. It's quite linear. And so I think if you care enough, you're passionate enough, and you're really disciplined, and you have a really strong purpose as to why you're doing this, I think it's an incredible time to jump into this space. I think you'd be crazy not to do it.
Yeah. There's a lot of buyers jostling for property, and having that advantage is quite a thing to have. Someone that actually works 5 days a week in the market, not just having a crack on the weekend like a lot of buyers. Yeah, so we've got plenty of opportunity for buyers agents, and you've got the most comprehensive training program for buyers agents that I've seen in Australia. I've seen others pop up. Yeah. So when I've talked to some real estate agents about being a buyer's agent, I've heard you say buyers are liars sort of thing. I talked to an older real estate agent the other day, a guy from Cairns, and he's like, oh, don't be a buyer's agent because buyers will mess you around. So you've got a new buyer's agent, they get their first client, a buyer comes their way, and they want to help this buyer, but the buyer's not really aware of market conditions. The buyer, and so the buyer's agent's got to do their best to help this person genuinely, and that's something you're very good at. So could you share some wisdom around how a buyer's agent might be able to do that, as a bit of a peek into how you've helped someone before, or maybe share an example? A story is always great.
So you mean a buyer that may have some reservations about making a decision, or?
That's correct. Yeah.
I I think there's typically, obviously, a number of reasons why buyer engages a buyer's agent, right? So it could be time, it could be geographically, like the lack of knowledge geographically, like they could be moving from Sydney to Brisbane. They might just value outsourcing. They may have missed out recently. They may not like to talk to real estate agents, right? So there's always a number of reasons.
Yeah,
I guess, if a buyer is walking through that journey with you, it's a bit delicate, and so there's that fine line around how much pressure or whatever you want to deem that word you put on them, right, to help them make a decision. So we're not making a decision for them. We're giving them information, especially for owner occupiers, and we're then helping them make an effective decision. And so if there's reservations or they've got questions, or you can open up a healthy debate, I guess you want to invite in debate. You want to invite in to be challenged. You want to challenge their thinking. And I guess we're there to help project manage the process and help navigate the journey for them. And so it's going to come with buyers maybe getting into their limited mindset around something that, for example, like if they've never done a renovation, it could even be cosmetic, and they walk into a home and they don't know what, if you're to paint the walls, or, do the floorboards, or, just do a kitchen or a bathroom. Like if they haven't got the visualization to understand that, they might just write it off and say, this is not right. We want a finished product. So to answer your question, it's up to us then say, hey, listen, for X amount of dollars, we could paint the walls, we could do the floorboards, we could redo this kitchen. It'd cost, let's say, hypothetically, it's 15 grand. And you paint that picture for them, and then that may help them make a different decision. So I think the whole time we're just there to guide them and throw questions at them and answer their questions and open up healthy debate. And then ultimately it's up to them to pull the trigger and decide, with the information, the facts that they have in front of them, they've got to make an effective decision.
So a buyer's agent should be aware of why the person has approached a buyer's agent, and ensure that the buyer understands that they can leverage the buyer's agent as a professional service. A buyer's agent is there to explore the potential of properties. Am I putting that right?
Yeah, I mean, if a client comes, if a client comes to you because they're a lawyer and they're time poor, just because they're time poor, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to understand how to quantify a value of a property, or they're not going to understand how to think differently about, as I was talking through earlier, around maybe a cosmetic renovation. And so a client's going to come to you with a certain issue, with a challenge. That's why they're going to pay us money. That's why they're going to engage us to solve that problem or problems. And then it's up to us to then walk them through our process that we take a client through to make the process seamless, to really present outstanding properties to them that meet their criteria. And then obviously, subject to them, wanting to move forward with that property, then it's up to us to then close that deal, wrap it up, negotiate, get good terms, and work with the real estate agents, which is typically one of the most challenging parts, just making sure that you can close that out. And so, I guess it's just up to us to walk the client through a certain process and get to an outcome. That's all it's about. It's about getting to the outcome. And so that's what you just got to do.
Yeah, that's great. And it's very hypothetical. So you've really covered a lot of bases there. It's great to have your view on that, because you've just dealt with so many clients. And what comes to mind off the end of that conversation is, with the new buyers agents that you're dealing with, what's the common pitfall that they have that you see come up?
Listen, it's always around lead generation. So
very difficult sometimes.
It's always just around leads. You can own 20, 30 properties, or you can have the best research process, whatever it is. You can be a really good negotiator. If you don't have any clients, you don't have a client, you don't have a BA business. If you don't have a consistent flow of clients, you won't have the continuity of a business that's building momentum. And so ultimately where people struggle is getting clients. And then once they get clients, typically they run into operational problems around, what's their back end look like in terms of CRM and how they're going to, market themselves, then hiring staff, and just I guess whether they're working within a company, you're effectively running your own business, or you're working independently as your own business. People just falling into then standard business problems. It could be around social media marketing, it could be acquiring leads organically, all that type of stuff. So
yeah, absolutely. So you're on a mission to help buyers agents. You're still passionate about that. It's good to see. So what's the best way people can find you?
Just buyersagentinstitute.com or .au. Just if you visit that platform, all the information is there.
Yeah, beautiful.